Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Item 1. Resumption of debate on the estimates of expenditure for the financial year 1st April 2021 to 31st March 2022. Committee of Supply, third allotted day.
Head Q, Ministry of Communications and Information, Ms. Tin Pei Ling.
Chairman, I beg to move that the total sum to be allocated for Head Q of the estimates be reduced by $100. Sir, Singapore has great ambitions to achieve a thriving digital economy and smart nation. Talent and data are, in my opinion, the most basic yet most important success factors. We need data to innovate and we need people to get things done. In my budget debate speech in February 2020, I talked about the need for a high concentration of skilled workers with a critical mass of talents if we are to excel in tech and innovation, like we did in biotech. Singapore needs to offer an abundance of talents who not only meet existing demands but also attract future unicorns to Singapore from the region and beyond. Just as importantly, we need to have homegrown unicorns. We need more Singapore digital leaders and tech unicorns to further cement our position in the world. Today, the number of tech-related job vacancies is double that of the number in 2010, according to a recent report by the Boston Consulting Group. As we continue to attract large tech firms to Singapore, and as we digitally transform our Singapore enterprises, the need for talents cannot be more pressing. First, on digital leader and mentoring program, I'm heartened that the government has introduced many useful schemes such as TESA, SG United Jobs and Skills, and the PCP that help to strengthen our talent pool with the requisite technical knowledge and industry skill sets. To ensure sustainability and progression in this area, I'd like to ask what the government is doing to actively cultivate digital leaders. Will the government consider formally introducing a mentorship program that attracts top talents and company founders from around the world, perhaps to leverage the Tech Pass holders to mentor our youths and startups? I spoke about this in Parliament last year and I raise this again now. Ultimately, we would want to create a vibrant community of talents, groom our next generation, and increase Singapore's mindshare to further cement Singapore's position on the global stage. Next, on women in tech. An area of keen interest to me is how we are attracting and retaining women in this niche tech space. The 2017 Manpower Statistics for Infocom reported a distinct gender gap with male at 68% and female at 32%. In a 2019 Harvard Business Review research paper, it was reported that investing in gender diversity helps create a positive feedback loop in talent attraction and financial gains for a company. Drawing comparisons from the same Boston Consulting Group report that I mentioned earlier, the composition of women with tech-related degrees is 29%, and this is less than the 53% representation in overall degrees. Hence, I would like to ask the government what are the plans in place to further encourage the entry of women to the tech space. Third, on transparency framework. Sir, we should call for greater transparency to what firms, especially large firms, expect of their corporate leaders. In an article by Forbes that outlined one of the benefits for introducing a transparent corporate culture is that it fosters employee happiness and talent retention. I would like to ask whether the government will consider putting in place a framework to enhance corporate transparency, especially in terms of talent development and progression. And fourth, support for innovation. On the support for innovation, apart from the announced Research, Innovation and Enterprise 2025 plan to boost R&D, I'd like to ask the government what plans will be put in place to help local startups or local companies in the innovation sector to secure significant projects within and outside the public sector that can boost their credibility. Apart from having a list of IMDA-accredited companies, could there be a more concerted effort to encourage government-linked companies to partner local tech firms and bring them along in overseas ventures? Without the opportunity to obtain a big break, our local startups can get stuck in a vicious cycle of small projects. This inadvertently creates a false impression that our local startups are capable of undertaking only small projects. Moreover, without a sizable project in Singapore to add to their credential, some local companies may face considerable challenges when venturing overseas if they were to do so on their own. And because of the lack of credibility or credential, local startups might be pressured to reduce their fees to secure the contract. This again creates a downward spiral of giving discounts, which is unsustainable in the long run. Can we pursue big brands less and favor our local companies a bit more? Could we consider Support Singapore measures to prioritize deserving local companies, perhaps those in the Scale Up program, in certain public project tenders? Such opportunities could be the break our companies need to launch themselves as Singapore's next tech unicorn. And on to my final point on data collection. I understand that this is a sensitive topic, but the current highly sensitized climate makes it difficult for local firms to collect data for the purpose of innovating their products or services. At times, companies face challenges obtaining data despite offering assurance that it will be anonymized. But without data, it could be very difficult for firms to innovate and they risk creating products in a vacuum. Hence, there is a need to strike a balance in protecting data and enabling data for innovation. We want to be a global data center, but how can we use data for greater good? Could the government consider lending its support as a partner to companies in their research and studies? This could boost public confidence. What else could the government do to strike this balance? Sir, I beg to move.
Question is that the total sum to be allocated for head Q of the estimates be reduced by $100. Ms. Tin.
Sir, digital globalization is accelerating. Digitalization for businesses is no longer an option post-COVID. Moreover, going digital breaks down geographical and physical constraints and promises limitless markets and opportunities. However, MSMEs often find it daunting to digitalize as they know not the what and the how. Most of our MSMEs are resource-strapped. Neither do they have the technical expertise internally to scan the horizon for the wide array of digital solutions available in the market. Nor do they have the resources to engage qualified consultants just to help them digitalize. On this note, I would like to suggest 3 points. The first is to build trust in technology. I don't know what I don't know. What if I am scammed? Will the bank or agency know my everything? Buy-in amongst MSMEs on the benefits of digitalization could remain weak. Absorbed in their daily operations, many MSMEs have little capacity left to care about achieving incremental productivity gain through digitalization when, number one, every day is an existential fight, and number two, the digital solutions are possibly alien to them. Compounded by the occasional stories of how some fall prey to scams, digitalization can become a mysterious and scary monster. Could the government share how it is addressing myths and helping MSMEs understand the benefits of digitalization so as to engender greater confidence? Second is to solve the know-how. Even amongst the more forward-looking MSMEs that believe in digitalization, they may not afford the time to properly understand the digital specifications, much less to deploy and implement the solutions. Also, hiring an in-house IT expert given their skill could be costly. Therefore, the idea of pooling resources and having CTO as a service, as announced in this year's budget, sounds like a very good idea. And third is to demonstrate clear gains. The business imperative will be strong if digital adoption is shown to increase top line and reduce bottom line. Of course, government schemes such as the Start Digital Pack are useful, but if I may suggest, it is for the government to look into implementation details and how application experience can be enhanced. For example, a local tech solution provider recently shared with me that many local MSMEs expressed interest to purchase the solutions because of the SME Go Digital funding. But because the deadline was strictly imposed and the application processing took a while, a number of these companies gave up for fear of missing the deadline by the time the application is approved, if it is approved. This to me is an example of a missed opportunity for MSMEs to give digitalization a shot. So with the accelerated pace of digitalization, it is do or die now. Might therefore ask the ministry to share more about what is done to help MSMEs transform.